Hi Gemini, welcome to your love reading. My name is Nomi, I'm from Ananda Healing Arts, and we are going to do a relationship spread between you and your person. Just bear in mind that this is a general reading only, so only take what resonates and throw out the rest. I implore it. Only use your discernment while listening to tarot readers. I will be reading for sun signs, moon signs, rising signs, and Venus signs. Of course, cross watchers are welcome. And we'll be reading from your energy, your person's energy, what energy is coming into the relationship, and what messages from spirit we can have in the center here. So with that in mind, thank you for watching. I hope you get what you need out of this one, Gemini. Beautiful to have you here. All right, so from your perspective here in the mental space, Gemini for the mental space for their person. Oh, we've got the Hermit card coming through here. Beautiful, Virgonian energy. From their side, we've got the Two of Cups, Two of Emotions coming through. In the heart space, we have the Knight of Inspirations, Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot there. On their side, we've got the Seven of Inspirations, Seven of Wands energy from their side. How are you viewing the connection? Two of Materials, Two of Pentacles coming through. We have them in the full energy for how they're viewing the connection at this time. We have the Emperor card as what energy you're bringing into this connection. The Nine of Voices or the Nine of Swords coming through from their side. Okay, interesting. What is the energy from spirit or messages from spirit? Crowning the energy, we've got the Page of Voices, Page of Swords in the traditional tarot, Strength card coming through in the heart of it. And what have we got as the medicine and advice from spirit at this time for this connection, please, Gemini? We've got the Three of Cups, Three of Emotions energy coming through. Underneath is the Ace of Inspiration. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Wow. So, as I can see from how you're viewing this at the moment, there may be a sense of separation with the Hermit card, or at least a need for yourself to like pull away and kind of come to your own conclusions. You've been thinking upon how to navigate this situation in a way that feels more true to yourself and true to your heart. The Hermit can really feel like a time of introspection and allowing yourself to come to the ideas of what to do next in a place that feels fair to yourself. Obviously, that will be, impacting the relationship as well, maybe taking some space or giving yourself the chance to really revise this. From their perspective, they've got the Two of Cups, so obviously they're looking at you like this bond is something that they're really wanting to work on, and definitely you can see the merit of this connection. I mean, they do have like a feeling of wanting to work on this while you're almost like going your own way and being in a position of sitting in with your own spiritual awareness through this. Maybe you've got a spiritual bond here that you can feel coming up here for you guys, Gemini. The Knight of Inspiration or the Knight of Wands is this energy of like wanting to be a little bit more selfish, and I say that with a tone of, not that you're a selfish person here, Gemini, but I feel like you've been kind of navigating this upon how to continuously caretake your partnership or your person here. And I think that there's a moment here where we need to take a look and see, have we been giving up on our own dreams, our goals, or what it is that's bringing us a sense of fulfillment and a sense of gratification here. Like in the heart space, again, it can feel very much like a bit of a hot and cold energy as well from your side. Like one moment I'm feeling really into this, the next moment I'm kind of pulling back a little bit and going, is this really what I want? There's an element here of like navigating the relationship to a degree of like, I want to feel like there's sparks, I want to feel like there's energy here, I want to feel like there's vitality here, and if I'm not getting that, then is this really for me, or should I be looking in other avenues as well? Again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're looking outside the relationship for another person, for example, or outside this connection, but it just feels like, is this person really like for me, or am I just giving myself over to a situation that feels like half like a half-life, you know what I mean? Because the central of theirs is the Seven of Inspiration, a bit of a guardedness going on here, you know, and I think that that's what you're picking up on. The Seven of Inspiration, Seven of Wands, it's like they could have been having a bit of a defensive energy. Their heart's feeling a little bit pulled back. Perhaps they're going through a bit of healing, or, you know, there's circumstances at the moment that are requiring them to kind of take on, you know, a lot of responsibility, or feeling very much like they just don't necessarily have the energy to give too much at the moment, even though with the Two of Cups they're wanting to work on the relationship and can certainly feel you wanting to work on that as well. They may be pulling back a little bit, which then gives rise to this Hermit energy, kind of reflecting each other here, Gemini, which is interesting. With the Two of Pentacles coming in as how you're seeing the connection, it's like a bit of chaos, you know, things are just unstable at the moment. I find with the Two of Pentacles, it's like we're trying to find some balance in this, because either somebody's workload or their own responsibilities right now are impacting you to such a degree that you might not be able to find time, or you wanting to take this time for yourself at the moment is like, I'm in my own zone. I really just want to like focus in on that before I like lean into like bringing in my partner or my person right now as to how I'm navigating this. Because the Fool card is like, and especially considering this Fool card's kind of walking away, like this person's open to, you know, a fresh start, or potentially like walking in a new direction. For some of you, you know, this could be a connection where you're having to like understand that somebody wants to go their own way, or they've got a certain way of relating right now that may not necessarily really fit with what's required for you spiritually or emotionally here. Because again, you've been trying to adjust the sails to this person's whim, or adjust the sails to this person's wants at this moment, and you just going, okay, well look, I need stability right now. You know, I need some focus. I need to get this planning ahead, because the Emperor card really wants to like knuckle down and nail down a solution, but also be very stable in this situation. Four is all about like really being quite directive and have some boundaries here, so both parties can feel safe and stable. And again, this person's kind of like retreating and again opening the doors potentially to other conversations or other situations right now. They're looking elsewhere, which is again what you're picking up on it, which is what I can feel here. The Nine of Voices, or the Nine of Swords, like what they're bringing into this, like they've got a lot of anxiety, and I feel like perhaps this is an entrapment from past situations as well. Again, they can see the merit of the connection, but they're worried, like they're a bit anxious as to how this is going to be navigated at this time here, Gemini, because I feel like for the most part, because you're looking for a sure, stable, solidified plan or solution, and this person's far more like, well, I don't know if I can give that to you right now. You know, we'll see where it goes. We'll see how we can navigate it. Again, they're a bit nervous or a bit anxious at the idea of maybe how you're going to respond to that, or how it is that you're going to navigate this. Maybe in for such a degree, because you've been sort of hot and cold with this, they may not necessarily feel like they can provide you that stability, because they're not sure whether or not you're standing in the same place as you were originally. The Page of Voices in the crown here says that there has been a bit of a stalemate in this situation, where I feel like the both of you have either been spying on each other on social media, or you've been kind of taking a bit of a retreat kind of energy, just because the communication lines being that this is more one person wanting, you know, a sure, stable thing, versus the other person being a little bit more mutable and wishy-washy. You know, like there's this element of like the both of you kind of taking a little bit of a break from focusing in on the partnership so much, and the Strength card asking you guys to really be quite courageous right now and not, you know, unconditionally loving. I suppose if you're wanting to rebuild this, there's going to be a change here, certainly, but there feels like there's a bit of like a third party energy. Please don't think of it just necessarily as somebody coming in and they're cheating and all of that sort of stuff. It's just there's other elements outside of this relationship impacting it right now. The medicine is just to recognize that, stay strong in your feelings and what it is that you're trying to create. You have an opportunity right now of taking a look at this from a very logical perspective, like a very heartfelt but logical. And again, we have the Ace of Inspiration underneath this, so it's like we need to give this connection a bit of a jolt. Again, there's a lot of passion, or there's a lot of things that give you that inspiration, but she's looking away from this connection right now. So maybe both of you are going through a growth spurt, realizing that maybe your values have changed, or maybe that there hasn't been so much of that passion of late. Again, it feels very much like the both of you are in your own zone here. And again, this person really wants to work on this, but defensive, because you're kind of taking it upon yourself to like readjust what you're creating here. So how is it that we can re-navigate some spark of inspiration or some vitality here? Again, this can be sexual energy. Maybe there has been a bit of a lull in being able to connect sexually in this communication, or sexually in this connection. Pardon me. But at the same time, I get this sensation that, you're willing to work on it. You're willing to adjust what's required. I mean, certainly with the Two of Materials, like, while it hasn't necessarily been perfect, you definitely don't want to lose out completely with this person. But there may be an adjustment that's required here. Emperor card coming up for you in again. So what have we been thinking on with the Hermit? It's a stability. It is, forward planning and feeling like we can really trust and lean in and have faith that this person's really going to be there for us. Again, maybe we've also been going whether or not we can be there for them. Like, how is it that we're showing up as well? Like, I want to make sure that this person can rely on me, but at the same time, like, how is it that this relationship is impacting my ability to really do that and show up? They want to work on it. Eight of Pentacles coming up with the Two of Emotions. So obviously, there may be some tools that are required here, some strategies that they're looking at. Maybe they have been very work focused as well, which has impacted the relationship. But certainly with the the Eight of Pentacles to the Two of Cups, that to me says I want to work on this partnership. I want to be in a position where I can figure that out. But at the same time, we have to have a workable solution. King of Swords coming through in your heart space over here. So this is delegation, being very sure of what you're creating. Again, I think there's some outside sources that are really impacting how you're feeling about yourself here. And with the Knight of Inspiration, it's like you've got an idea in place that's kind of making this a little wobbly. Again, you're pretty sure of what you are wanting to establish here, but the communications are what is being a bit hot and cold. Like, I feel like one moment we've got like this very sure thing, I want to go after this, and then the next minute we're like, well, I'm kind of backtracking and want to explore my other options. Do you know what I mean? Like, the King of Swords can be a little bit cold, and at the same time, maybe that's how this other person might be viewing you at the moment. A bit hot and cold is what I was saying before with that Knight of Wands. The Devil card coming up in their central position. So this can feel like a bit of a codependency, or that again, because of this hot and cold energy, like you can find that they're maybe, feeling this attachment to a point where they don't want to re-establish something that's not healthy. Do you know what I mean? Like, the Devil card is like, where have we got our codependencies, and our ties here to the past, and not wanting to revisit the old story again. Maybe they're viewing you a little bit of the devil, which is why the defensiveness is coming out. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be you, but this person's gone through some things that is, really bringing up that sense of codependency, and maybe they don't want you to be codependent with you. Maybe they're wanting to keep things nice and light and workable and everything else like that. They're Gemini, but at the same time, they don't want to be too attached, or they don't want to feel like they're bound to this only. Again, you may be just responding, especially with that hot and cold, to their own energy as well, because while we've got on the surface and how they're talking and how they're communicating about working on this from the central position, they certainly have got different ideas, or at least that the impact at the moment feels very much like they just, they don't want to be too tied down, or they don't want to feel like they're only like a slave to your wants and needs and desires. Again, I feel like with that retreating energy in the heart center there, it's just like, yeah, they're wanting to break free of anything that feels too tied down or too restrictive here. The Wheel card coming up for the Two of Pentacles. So obviously some changes are required here. it does feel very much like divine timing is available for the both of you to start having a look at things that are very workable. If you're not in an actual relationship with this person at this time, and this is like, I'm describing somebody that's been a bit hot and cold in your energy, and that, you know, again, they're giving you off these vibes that they're wanting to work on it, but you can kind of feel into it thinking, okay, I just want to be in a position where I know and I'm sure. I just want to cut to the chase. I want to be in a position right now of knowing that this person is going to be with me. What are we doing? Da, 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 da. And that's like kind of, you know, giving them this sensation of like, whew, Gemini, like, you know, don't box me in here. Don't give me this ultimatum feeling. I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel organic. I want to feel like this is exactly what we both want. And again, they're really seeking freedom right now with the Fool card, and again with the Queen of Pentacles, things that feel very much like they're doing it on their terms. Like I get this sense again, like wanting to you know, be open to better ways of, you know, feeling nurtured in this connection here. I get the sense as well with the Queen of Pentacles, like there's great care here. This person definitely is wanting the best for you, is what I'm getting, but at the same time they're really reigniting that they need to make sure that you are also on the same page of, you know, the best for them as well. I don't know, there just seems to be some communication issues going on here, Gemini, which is very interesting. I suppose that's why the control of it, again, perhaps even like the feeling of, if you want to flip it, like this person wanting to control you a little bit here, and you're like, no, I just want to figure this out and work with the changes here. Again, they're doing it because they want the best for you, and to start for you to recognize that, but at the same time they're kind of getting up in their head that things aren't rolling the way that they need to. Interesting, we've got the Knight of Pentacles with the Emperor, so you're really bringing in that stability vibe. The Knight of Pentacles can be very slow moving energy as well, like doing things by the book, doing things very systematically. Again, things haven't necessarily been rolling in a very fast pace as well, so that could also be a factor as to why, you know, this has been a bit hard here going on with your person. Two of Pentacles coming up again, but again, they're like, it's like their insecurity or the thing that they're worried about is what the adjustments are required here. So again, it's like they've got an idea, you've got an idea, but I'm feeling like there's a bit of a mismatch going on, or there's an element here of like there's just so many adjustments to be made in order to really make this work and get this ball rolling. Even though you're committed, you're willing to do what it takes and do things by the book, it's like we've got this mishmash of wishy-washy energy that's happening at the moment here between the two of you guys. We've got the Hanged Man coming in the Crown, so I guess this is going to be taking on a different perspective and having a look at how the other person's really navigating this. I feel like with the Page of Voices, it's like we're taking a moment at this time, a bit of a pause, to figure out what we're really thinking about in this situation. You know, the Hanged Man can say, okay, we need to take a look at the other person's lane. Does this really feel like it fits for the long term? Does this really fit like it's sustainable? I think that there's merit in being able to take on the other person's point of view as your own, and, you know, be open to what they're requiring right now. And again, if that means that there needs to be a change, great. You know, Knight of Pentacles saying I'm willing to do what it takes here, but at the same time, it's like without that knowledge of the other person's like perspective here, how can we really see the bigger picture and how we can get out of this in a place that feels fair for both parties? Knight of Wands coming up again. You did have that in the heart space, so the strength is again that hot and cold energy, that feeling of being very sure, and then, oh, does that really fit with me? I'm not sure if I really like that. And kind of like, yep, I'll be there for the good times, but when things hit the fan and you're feeling like, you know, stuff's really difficult, we just kind of want to pull back. And I get that, Gemini. It feels very overwhelming, but at the same time, like you're in such a degree of like strength, especially with the Emperor card. It's like having to get the confidence to really say what's required or what's been coming up in your heart at this time. Interesting, the Tower card coming through with the Three of Cups. So, you know, a big sudden change. Again, there may be a third party involved here. the other person might be talking to someone, or you may be talking to someone at this time that really gives you this shift and this dynamic shift that will really propel you guys out of this funk at this time. I mean, I do get the Two of Swords, so this feels very much like, you know, coming to a decision at the moment where it's felt very much like a stalemate, like you've been given a lot of extra information here, Gemini, to make a better decision that feels more organic to the both of you. And I do get this sense as well, it's like you are very sure about this person being very important to you. I think what's been very difficult is the communication lines and what changes are really required, because while you're willing to step up into the plate and move forward with this other person has kind of been 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or has been giving you everything to do with like a workability in this situation, while still in their heart space not 100% sure, because they don't want to be completely chained down by this. Again, they want to make sure that they get the best out of their situation, and again, not sure that they can really rise to the adjustments required or be able to deal with what's real, like the reality of the situation here, which is interesting. But again, at the same time, you do have the Knight of Wands in the central position. You know, you are dealing with something that's not necessarily, you know, that you can hold tight with, even though you're pushing the point of like, can we knuckle this down and give ourselves this forward planning and something that we can really work with here, which I find interesting. So I think there's workable ideas available to you, as long as you guys are both open to, you know, seeing the other side's situation. But just bear in mind that the more that you push, I think the more that you try and like lay this down and nut this out, the more that this person is kind of like, I don't know, getting their back up, because again, they don't want to reignite something that might give them anxiety, or that they can't fulfill their end of the bargain. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't want to disappoint you, and they certainly don't want to disappoint themselves. So there is a bit of a guardedness there. I do get that sense, but there is change available to you guys. I do feel like if there's a third party, maybe leaning into that. Again, these things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. And I feel like, Gemini, like if there's another person coming into the mix here, especially with this Three of Cups, that you might be able to be picking up on the other end, there's like something very important about that person's perspective, or what they're bringing in to give you this opportunity to go, well, does this really fall in alignment with what I really want to feel, and the kind of relationship that I really want to embrace here? Because while I feel like for the most part you've got a lot of great ideas and, you know, very sure of what you want, is this person that you've been really focusing on able to rise to that occasion? Again, they've talked the good talk, they certainly are able to recognize that there's a connection here, but they're all about being open and being free and like looking after numero uno, and again, not dealing with the anxiety of like what's really required to adjust this, to take this to the next level. So I think make your decisions based upon obviously what's coming up in your heart space because of this, and you know, don't discount what your natural values and what you're trying to create here is. But Gemini, be safe, enjoy these next couple of weeks. I hope this has resonated for you. If it has, like and subscribe, that would be super helpful. I would love to have you along, and yeah, please just take what resonates and leave the rest. Beautiful, Gemini. Well, until next time, please take care.